Hi viewers, this is Zabardast Khan again, and today we'll be recording video number 2 of the climate change series. In the last video, which was video number 1, if you remember, we discussed the greenhouse gases, their composition, how the Earth protective system works, what are the atmospheric layers, and how do they function in retaining heat to maintain the average 15 degrees centigrade temperature on this planet, which is of course essential for survival of the life on Earth. Today we'll be discussing the sources of these emissions, what are the global percentages of gases, who are the polluters in this Earth, and what are the effects of these on our human life. So let's go back to pre-industrial area, which is 1750. If you remember, yesterday we said that in 1750 the CO2 percentage, the emission percentage was 280 parts per million in the atmosphere. Now, you'll be surprised to know that it has gone up and gone up considerably. And the recent reports say that the CO2 in the atmosphere is around 417 parts per million. Now, one thing we need to keep in mind that the WHO's safe limit is 350 parts per million. So we are well above that safe limit. Now let's go back to the sources of emissions. The major sources of emissions are the coal mining, the coal-based plants which produce energy, the agriculture sector, the livestock sector, the transportation, which is both air, terrestrial and marine transportation. The third one, the next one is industrial agriculture, which is livestock, and it's producing methane from fertilizers and the rearing of livestock. In addition to that, the major sources are about 21% is coming from the industrial processes established in many places across the globe. There's a considerable amount of frozen carbon, which is known as permafrost, is coming from Alaska and Siberia. As we have the Earth's temperature increased, the frozen carbon, which is lying there since thousands of years, is melting and it is going into the air. Now, in addition to that, a recent phenomenon is the methane pools. The frozen methane, which was lying on the Siberian Peninsula and in the Alaskan area, that methane is melting and huge pools are being created. That methane is going into the air. These are some of the sources, in addition to the oil exploration on ground as well as into the sea. You might have seen oil rigs. These rigs are producing a lot of emissions into the. Now, there was a time when Japanese were leading because they were the first one to become industrialized nation and they were producing a lot of consumer goods for the entire globe. But now China has taken lead. The Japanese have switched over to more cleaner options for their industry. Although China is also trying to do their bit to convert their industries on renewable energy sources, but still there's a lot to be done. Now, what we know about is that in 1750 the CO2 emission percentage in the globe was around 43%. Now, you'll be surprised to know that it has gone up to 65%. and some reports also say that it is close to 76%. But one thing is clear, that the CO2 emissions have drastically increased in the atmosphere. The second major gas is methane. In pre-industrial area, we have 11% of methane in the atmosphere. It has gone to 16% now. And after that, we have the nitrous oxide, which is around 6%. And then we have CFCs, the chlorofluorocarbons, which is around 2%. Remember that all these four primary gases are known as the GHGs, the greenhouse gases, and these are man-made. Now, if I talk about the life of these gases, the shortest life is of carbon dioxide. It remains there if you stop the emissions, the already accumulated gas in atmosphere remains there from 35 to 90 years. And the CFCs, some of the CFCs remain there for 50,000 years. Now, we unfortunately, human beings, we have taken this world as a big sewer. We are dumping everything into it, into the atmosphere, into the oceans, into rivers. We are polluting almost everything. We are cutting down the forests. We are polluting the marine reservoirs, the oceans, the rivers. Now, all these things are contributing enormously towards making this planet less sustainable to live and more polluted, which has drastic human hazards on human health. Let's talk a little bit about how much pollution are we producing on daily basis. The figures are not very healthy. I mean, healthy in sense that it is not good for the human health. We are producing 152 million tons of CO2 in 24 hours. Now, if you calculate this on yearly basis, it is a staggering 55,480 million tons of carbon dioxide going into the atmosphere every year. Now, despite the fact that the world committed that they will reduce their emissions in Paris Accord of 2015, which started being implemented in 2016, the world emission has not gone down. It has not stabilized. It has in fact increased by 2.1% during the last year. So we need to think that whatever actions we are taking, are these actions leading us to a sustainable life, to a reduced amount of emissions going into the atmosphere? Now, I'll tell you a little bit about the industries and the sectors producing these emissions. At the global level, top of the list is the energy and heat production, which is contributing 25% of CO2. It is being followed by agriculture, forestry and land use, which contributes 24% of the emissions. And then we have industry or industrial processes, 21%. Transportation is 14%, and of course transportation includes the terrestrial transportation, the marine transportation and the air transportation. That's 14%. And then we have other sources, which is 10%. Basically those are the air conditioning, the CFCs coming from various sprays that we use at home. Now let's talk about the countries who are the biggest polluters. There was a time when Japanese were leading this, but as I told earlier that they have been replaced by the Chinese. Chinese at the moment are contributing 30% of the global emissions. They're followed by the Americans, 15%. EU countries total put together 9%. Surprisingly, Indians are producing 7% of the global emissions. And then Russia is 5%, Japan is 4%, and all other countries to put together, they are producing 30%. Now I'll particularly mention Pakistan's case here. Pakistan is producing less than 1%. It is actually 0.8%. But if you see Pakistan's position on the vulnerability index against the natural disaster, Pakistan is at number 7th. In the pollution contribution, Pakistan is at ranking 153 at the global level. But against this, at the disaster index, it is at number 7. Now why? Because there is a reason behind this. These emissions are transboundary. You cannot stop them. Now the emissions affecting Pakistan come all the way from South China and India. This pollution goes into the air and then it travels alongside the Himalayas because it cannot cross the Himalayas. So it travels along the Himalayas and it goes all the way up to the northern Afghanistan and northern Pakistan. And that is the most vulnerable area for Pakistan because all the Pakistani fresh water is stored in the glaciers up there in the north. So the north is being affected very negatively and it is resulting in a gradual loss of glacial ice, compounded by the fact that Pakistan does not enjoy the storage capacity of this water. So whatever water melts from the glacier, it goes straight out into the Indian Ocean and we cannot benefit from that water. So we need to think of that. Now today we finish with this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. In the next video we'll be talking more about the climate change and we specifically will be describing the carbon footprint. What exactly is the definition of carbon footprint? What are the carbon footprints for various industries? What exactly as an individual we need to do to reduce the carbon footprint so that we have a much cleaner world to live in. Before you leave, please do not forget to subscribe my channel. I thank you once again.